Welcome to the 359. I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Alfred Ng.
We're finally going to get some details on the highly anticipated Disney Plus streaming video service. Now, Disney is planning to hold a shareholder event to show off the service later today and hopefully give us a glimpse of some of the projects in the works. We know there's a Mandalorian series out that's already in the works. There are shows potentially around Hawkeye, Winter Soldier and Falcon, and Loki, not to mention all the Pixar and Disney legacy stuff. And going forward, all the Disney movies will be streamed exclusively on the service.
Look, just give me The Simpsons as like its own streaming service, like only The Simpsons.
You'd pay for that?
Yeah.
FXX
already has that actually.
Disney owns Fox, right? So they can incorporate The Simpsons into this bundled service.
Yeah, just give me I always enjoyed Boomerang, that like throwback Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
If they just had that with like throwback Disney and cartoons and The Simpsons, like I can see myself paying.
Is there
that.
a price you'd pay for this service?
Like $5.
Wow, you're cheap, dude.
Yeah.
We don't know what the price is. Hopefully, we get some details on the pricing. Netflix right now is right around 13 or so. I think is like the main price. Or 15. But
they jacked the price.
They just jacked the price up. So we know that Disney has said the price will be lower, a little bit lower than the Netflix charge, but obviously the catalog will be a little bit smaller. But we'll see. We'll keep up to date with CNET with all the details from Joan at the event. Obviously, the big story this morning: Julian Assange getting arrested now that Ecuador has withdrawn its asylum. Alfred, you got the details. What's going on?
So he was arrested. Ecuador's withdrawn its asylum, and then he was arrested by UK police over skipping his bail in 2012.
Yep.
And along with that, the U.S. is also trying to extradite him over hacking charges from 2010. They're alleging that he had helped Chelsea Manning hack basically Department of Defense documents. Mm-hmm. She had sent over a password to him that was a hashed password and asked for tried getting his help to hack and log into it to get more documents. He's also being accused of trying to elicit more documents out of Chelsea Manning, which is very different than what a journalist and a source would do. Like it's not really protected to continue soliciting those documents. They're arguing that this basically falls under espionage.
Right. And you were just listening to Assange's lawyer talk.
Yes.
And talk a little bit about the defense that they're planning to use.
So they have essentially dismissed these hacking charges. They're saying that that's just a small element of what Julian Assange has done. And, this is an attack on the press. This is not a charge surrounding like computer hacking or anything like that. But obviously the U.S. government has very different things to say about that.
Right. All right, Amazon workers are potentially listening in on your Alexa conversations. What's this about?
I mean, it's not potentially. They are.
Okay.
They are.
They may not be listening to your exact conversations.
Yes.
Though.
So Bloomberg came out with a report yesterday where they had spoken with up to 7 employees at Amazon that work on the Alexa team, and they're actively listening in to conversations, but it's not like live. Like it's not like the moment you say it.
These are recorded conversations.
These are recorded commands to Alexa that sometimes you might not it might not understand correctly. So it's kind of like a transcription service where they listen to it, and if Alexa gets it wrong, they kind of just type out to say, like, listen, he meant to say Taylor Swift, or he meant to say put on something else. The problem with that is that they've been talking about these conversations, these recorded conversations internally within internal chat rooms, and there have been some scenarios that are really iffy. So there was one case where they had heard a potential sexual assault happening.
Oh, geez.
And they wanted to report it to the police, and an Amazon worker had basically stopped that and said, this is not a place for Amazon to interfere. But yeah, there are real people listening to these conversations that you're having with your device, which is a major privacy concern for many.
Yep, definitely. Lastly, check out Derek Herr's second piece looking at the use of tech on the border. There are drones, cameras, and sensors already in use, and Derek really kind of looked at how they were being used in the first piece. The second one really looks at how some folks may not think more tech is the answer. For more of these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Alfred Ng.
Thanks for listening.
And thanks as always for joining us for the recording of the audio podcast. You can subscribe to that using the links in the description below, as well as links out to all of the accompanying stories if you want to dig even deeper into the details. But for now, go ahead and send in your comments and questions so we can try to answer them firsthand. First and foremost, right up front, we want to wish a very special happy birthday to one of our longest and most loyal listeners, Matthew Datcher, the Datch in the chat. Happy birthday, sir. Great to always have you with us. Moving on to real questions, though. Noobs for Hire has said, I've never been so excited to spend money on a streaming service until Disney+. Let's go ahead and poll this out to the audience. Anybody who is excited, or maybe you're opposed, or you're getting tired of seeing the a la carte streaming services get even further hacked up, what's your thoughts and feelings on Disney? How much would you pay? Alfred's going to throw $5 whole at it. I'm interested just because, yeah, they hold all the cards now. They got my Star Wars. They got my Marvel. They got my Simpsons. They're going to get some money out of me, unfortunately.
We're not sure, though, if the Simpsons will be part of this package.
I'm just saying they own everything I love.
Yes, yeah, your childhood is pretty much all under lock and key.
Roger, are you going to chip in for some Disney?
So as a parent, I assumed that this was sort of going to be an obvious one, sort of a take my money situation. But my kid's not quite into Disney yet. He like recognizes Mickey Mouse, but he's not at the age yet where he wants to watch Frozen or whatever a million times. But I imagine once that phase hits, like it seems like a no-brainer for a parent who basically is forced to either rentals are not even an option, right? You have to buy the DVD or the Blu-ray. You basically need to own that media because your kid will demand to watch it 50,000 times. And so a streaming service makes a lot of sense because you have access to a lot of this stuff on demand and you can watch it 24/7.
I just feel like the future of streaming services is going to come in like bundled packages or something like that. Like I thought it was a really smart play when Spotify decided to partner with Hulu, and I know a lot more people are interested in Spotify now because they can get Hulu for free and vice versa. And I look at how Amazon Prime, like a lot of people just get that for like the 2-day shipping, and then now they have like the streaming service there. I know that if I didn't, have a shared like Netflix account, like I would be using my Amazon Prime a lot more.
Right. I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
Like bundling services might be something we might hear about today.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind now, with Disney owning Fox, they actually have the majority control of Hulu. So you can imagine a scenario where maybe Disney Plus gets bundled with Hulu, or ESPN Plus, that other streaming, the sports streaming service that we don't really talk about that much, but is out there already.
Yeah.
So it's weird because it's like we're almost going back to a cable bundle.
Yeah.
With this idea of like bundling together different services, but that's definitely a scenario that could help with the idea of subscription fatigue, right?
Mm-hmm. We got some great feedback coming in from the chat about the current streaming horizon. Michael Brown says I'd throw $5 to $8 at Disney Plus. Ian says I'd give Disney about the same I give to DC Universe, which is $7.50, no more. Marianne says a la carte sucks. I feel like I'm being nickeled and dimed to death. These are all very valid responses to the current climate.
It's funny though, during the height of the cable bundle, I think everyone was screaming for a la carte, right? That this was like what we had all asked for, right? I just want the channels that I want and nothing else. And now that it's here, we're all like, bring back the bundles, bring back the bundles.
Yeah, absolutely. We've done this to ourselves. Like we begged and pleaded for a way out cable, and then we just realized like, oh, they're just going to ruin that too.
Yep.
All right, next question is coming in from Timothy. With the rise of prices of these streaming services, I'm wondering at what prices will people be fed up and go back to cable or satellite? I'm happy with my triple play from Fios. Oh, you are lucky you have Fios. Fios is not available in my area. What is your cutoff point, everybody?
I mean, honestly, the update from YouTube yesterday for YouTube TV now being $50, like that's the same price as a cable plan. Like, why am I like paying for that?
The only benefit that I thought, like, and this is my justification for having subscribed to DirecTV Now as long as I did, was it was about $50, and if you tack on the broadband charges, I was paying roughly $80-$90 a month, which is similar to what I would have been paying under a triple play bundle. Two things in mind though. Those triple play bundles, they go up in price after a year or two. You're not paying $120, $100 for those three services forever, right? They go to $150 to $200. They go higher. with some of these online services, like you mentioned with Netflix, you can share accounts. I shared my DirecTV Now account with a buddy out on the West Coast. We split the bill. All of a sudden, it made it a little bit more cost effective.
I will say this, and that's the reason why I only want to throw like $5 at
Right.
Disney Plus. Here's another thought: just don't subscribe to anything. And there's so much free content that's available online that you can just watch without paying a dime for it. That like I don't like. I miss out on a lot of things. Like people like try to talk to me about Game of Thrones, but
Yeah.
like I don't care about that. Just stop enjoying things and save your money and watch stuff for free, like this show.
Touche.
That actually is probably the best advice I've ever heard.
I mean, a lot of
Just
people.
watch this show. It's free, and you'll have a mildly good time.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know?
just saying, there's so much content out there that is free already, and it's like, if you're watching a show just out of like FOMO, like you want to like be in your conversations with friends about like Breaking Bad or like The Wire or something like that. Just don't watch it.
The thing of it is, I don't think it's FOMO, right? Like, I genuinely enjoy Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Like, I would want to watch Game of Thrones as it was happening, or as it was live.
Yeah.
Yes, part of it is to be part of the cultural zeitgeist, but I just enjoy the show. I enjoy stuff about Marvel. I would love to see more Marvel stuff.
I honestly feel like that's becoming an increasingly large part of it, though. I think people you watch so that you can stay in the conversation with your friends. It's to like,
I'm
just
kind
to be cool, but
I feel like I used to be like that, but now like I can't watch anything live anymore, so I'm already kind of I missed the initial wave of interest. Like I'm probably gonna watch Game of Thrones at least a day or two late. Like Westworld, that was one where I watched weeks and months later, and so like I just kind of missed the whole wave of discussion about it, and that was fine with me. I just enjoyed the programs.
yeah, I'm more than happy to just show up late to the party.
Yeah.
My friends will talk about a show for years, and then I'll finally get into it like after it's already off the air.
I still haven't
I know
finished
I got
Breaking
a
Bad.
clear path.
I just don't watch shows in general anymore. Like I did watch Breaking Bad and The Wire and all
Right.
that, but like so yesterday I came home and my girlfriend was like watching a TV show.
What was she watching?
She's watching Twin Peaks,
The
and
new one?
no, like she's
it's a
rewatching
classic.
it.
Oh, okay.
And I kind of just like laid down on the floor. Like I wasn't falling asleep. I was literally just stretching on the floor like
Oh.
like an animal.
I thought you just gave up on life. You're like,
No.
you know what? That's it.
I
Twin
was
Peaks.
like, I don't want to watch a show right now because I'm trying to spend like the last 30 minutes of my day like not looking at screens.
That's smart.
So I was like, I'm just gonna go lay down on the floor, and I did that.
And
so
you did that. That's cool.
So yeah, lay down. Don't pay for anything.
Oh
Just
my god, that's free.
lay down on the floor. Do free stuff. Like enjoy your life. You don't have to watch shows for it or pay anything for it, or watch free shows.
Sure.
I mean, plenty of people are citing, like Steve says, I'm giving up going back to cable. Other folks in the chat have cited, like, there are alternative methods if you want to put in the elbow grease, like Plex and any other number of video servers.
I mean, Plex takes time and effort.
Yeah, exactly.
to
You
curate.
gotta put in the work,
The
but-
elbow grease is definitely a good way to put it. 'cause
but what's more
there's some
expensive,
effort.
elbow grease or dollars?
For me, the calculation, if you factor time into that calculation, then that changes everything.
Yeah, I've set like an entertainment budget for myself. I'm capping it at like, let's call it a $50 a month collectively between music subscriptions, streaming services, and like maybe going to the movies kind of thing.
I mean, I think in general, for me, like going back to cable is a non-starter because it's such a pain in the butt to like get the service or remove the service. It's like there are a lot of barriers, right? You've got to return the cable box. There are just things that like things about it. They're so antiquated that I just never want to go back to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if I had to pay the same amount for streaming services, I can get it on my phone. I can get it, and I know cable companies have done a lot to modernize those services, but the fact is, like, you still need to wait for an installer to show up at one point. That just,
Yeah, I will say this: if I did have to get a cable plan, I would probably go with one of these like streaming services online as opposed to like a set-top box and all that.
Yeah, Pluto TV, Lowcast are really great alternatives.
Isn't
Joan
Pluto
just
free?
introduced- Pluto is free.
Pluto is free.
Yeah.
Pluto's free. Lowcast is free as well, but you have to be in the right market because they're only available in major markets. Shocking. But yeah, just citing another number of fantastic alternatives because it feels like we have this conversation like once a week.
Is Lowcast the one that gives you just like your local broadcast channels for free? Or
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I bought an antenna for that.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's
And the only problem with antennas is they don't always work.
the weather.
Yeah, I
if
live
the
in a-
weather's
Weather
bad,
or
you
like
don't-
if your building is in the wrong
Yeah.
position, then you're kind of
Yeah, I live in a concrete basement. I don't get antenna signal
yeah,
down
okay,
there.
that's not gonna work for
But
you.
yeah, it's all free out there, people. Stop paying for things. It's not. The world is trying to scam you, and just do free stuff all the time.
You know, it's better than even watching most TV shows is just watching some of the interesting characters walking down the street some days. People watching.
Yeah,
Sure.
Eh.
I don't. I mean,
All right.
I live in a suburb. There are no people to watch.
just deers.
Yeah. Yeah.
The plural of deer is deer, Alfred. Moving on. Timothy, do you see Netflix making a counter to Disney where they make a push for cartoons and animation?
I mean, they've already been doing that.
Yeah,
I
to an
mean,
extent.
Netflix doesn't need to respond to this, by the way. Just to be clear, Netflix spends like somewhere near $12 billion a year on content. They absolutely don't need to respond. They have a huge breadth of content. Their library is much, much larger. Even Disney has said the library is not going to compare. And there's a lot of exclusive original programming at Netflix that keeps you hooked into it. I don't think they're worried. They're not sweating any of these competitors yet until maybe if we fast forward a few years, 5 or 6 years, and some of these services get bigger, they might pose more of a legitimate threat. But right now, Netflix is just so far above everyone else. It's not even close.
I'm looking forward to Stranger Things, the anime.
Ooh,
I would watch the crap out of that.
You joke, but I would totally watch the crap out of that.
That might be a first for like a live action converted into like a Japanese animation.
Well, I mean, don't they do that with Batman?
They do that, yeah, but I'm saying like an anime.
They did like a Batman anime.
But
They did a couple.
that Batman didn't start as a live
sorry,
action.
as a comic.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, fine. Matrix.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I would watch more of that. Next question from Matthew. There's a big marketing reason that cable companies don't give individual channels, but instead force those bundles, right? Exactly how does like the cable package strategy plan out? What is the logic behind it?
Yeah, I think that the idea is like they're forcing you to buy 50, 60 channels. And it's part of it psychological. Like the number is big, so you think like you're getting a lot. But it definitely bundles a lot of channels you probably don't watch. And usually, have to pay. They get paid a smaller percentage of it. Like ESPN is obviously like the big dog in terms of your bundled packages. But yeah, it's sort of the psychological issue of like, we're giving you all this for this low price of $100.
Yeah, and they also get the money for providing those channels. Like they enter contracts with a lot of companies to like provide it in their cable bundles. That's why like I think last month or so there was like all these like commercials about Comcast and Viacom shows.
It was AT&T and Viacom
Yeah.
had a whole dispute too.
Yeah.
So like shows like Nickelodeon.
Yeah, because they didn't want to pay them like as much as they were originally.
Exactly.
So yeah, they get money for like bundling all these channels too.
Right, and depending on the popularity of the channel, the money kind of
Yeah.
varies. And, sorry, not when I said shows like Nickelodeon, I meant channels. But yeah.
All right, that's some pretty good coverage on streaming. I'm sure that's going to continue to unfold, but we should probably talk a little bit about Julian before we call it a day. Michael Brown's asking for a quick breakdown, hot take on what went down. Timothy was also asking while you're at it, what changed the Ecuadorian's policy before that had him arrested?
Yeah, so the Ecuador like president before the current president had offered him an embassy like about like 7 years ago or so.
Yep.
But a lot has changed since then. So Brexit happened, the U.S. election happened, and he continued to use his like asylum as a way to like interfere with like U.S. politics and just like politics around the world. And, he's been making this argument that he's been doing this under journalism. But, if you look at the Mueller investigation, they do talk about how Russian hackers who had stolen those documents were, looking at WikiLeaks as a way to disseminate those kinds of files. And it got to a point where the Ecuadorian embassy did not want to like house him anymore.
Yep.
And there were like small things too. Like there were like reports trickling out throughout the last 2 years about like how he made that place like a mess and he didn't clean his room. There were like issues in the past about how like they had Julian Assange had accused the Ecuadorian government of like cutting off his Wi-Fi and not like allowing him to broadcast to the public or anything like that.
Right.
So
The exact quote from the president of Ecuador was withdrawn because of discourteous and aggressive behavior. So you could take from that what you will.
it's like having a really, really bad roommate.
Yeah.
And eventually you're just like,
For 7 years.
Yes.
I've had annoying roommates, and like a year felt like a long time. So imagine living with this guy for 7 years, and he never leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I like this quote is from Marianne says he crossed the line with the Ecuadorians when he hacked the Pope. I don't know about that story.
I don't think he did that.
I don't know if that was.
Oh, that was
the
him.
case.
Okay, couple more questions. What or is there a statute of limitations of his alleged crimes?
I don't have all the details. I know the original charges for sexual assault in Sweden.
They dropped
they were
those,
dropped.
yes.
Those were dropped. But he was still wanted for skipping bail
Yeah.
in the UK.
Then
So
that was
that's
like
still-
that was
2012, I
Yeah,
think.
7 years ago.
Yeah, but that's still in effect, and obviously the DOJ charges are fresh.
Yes.
So yeah, he's still in a lot of trouble.
And Deadly Soul says apparently Assange was free to leave the embassy for a while now. Could you guys clarify this?
I mean, he could leave
yeah, he
anytime, but he'd be arrested on
Yeah.
the spot.
Exactly. Exactly.
He could technically walk out
Yeah.
at any moment. He wasn't a prisoner. He was there for his own,
Yeah.
not safety, but to avoid getting arrested.
And do you know if there are any special interest groups involved with protesting his arrest?
I don't know if there are special interest groups, but I was watching his lawyers give a press conference outside of it, and before that had happened, they were basically chanting like "defend free speech." I'm sure, like outside of interest groups, there are definitely a lot of Assange supporters out there. Edward Snowden being one of them, basically pointing out that this is an attack on like press freedom. But it's interesting because there's this whole debate about. Are these charges actually over hacking or for, what WikiLeaks did leak like during that time was very relevant to like the press. It got a lot of coverage what like Chelsea Manning had provided.
Yep.
But the problem is like he's not being charged over that. He's being charged over, helping hack like documents that he had received, which no journalist does.
There you go.
And didn't Chelsea Manning just get out of solitary confinement? Isn't that a couple days ago?
No, she's still there. She was summoned by a grand jury at the beginning of March, basically to provide evidence on Julian Assange, and she refused to, and she still is refusing to, so she is still in solitary confinement.
Got it. Okay, I must have missed something around there. Marion clarified that there was a blurb on the news this morning that apparently his crew had hacked Vatican emails. Maybe we should look into that one. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, we'll definitely look into it. Thanks.
And then before we call it a day, if he is convicted, is this the end of WikiLeaks, or will someone continue to run it?
Well,
I'm pretty sure someone will
he doesn't
continue to run it.
really.
He hasn't really been running
He hasn't
it
run it for
since
a while.
like
Yeah,
I think like early 2018 or something like that.
it's been a little while. Yeah.
I guess one more, since we didn't really talk anything about Amazon. Yan Hao Chen asks, what about Google? Do they also listen to your commands at Google Home headquarters the way Amazon Echo workers are listening to you?
That's actually a really good question
Yeah.
and something I was looking into after reading the Bloomberg report. So I will, when I find out,
We'll have to get back to you.
Too.
Yeah, because that's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
Got it. All right, thanks, everybody. Sorry again we had to start a little late, but I think it was worth it to get the right info. We will see you on Monday. We are done for the week. This is our nice long weekend. And appreciate having you around. Great questions and comments as always. And we will see you next time. Roger.
Yep, the 359 is available on iTunes, TuneIn, FeedBurner, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts, the Amazon Echo, of course, CNET.com. We'll see you all next week.
Bye, folks.
Bye, all.
Bye.
If you need to work